Welcome back to part 4 of our study, looking at how do we know him from 1 John chapter 2. And today we're asking the questions about, how do we know him? And one of the ways that we know that, one of the ways we have assurance, is if we walk in the same way that Jesus walked. So John returns back to his first argument here in verse 3, but he expands on the idea because he says, whoever keeps his word. Now, whoever keeps his word is not just a synonym for commandments, though it does include them. Keeping the word of God means that not only do you perform the duties set before you, but your desires, your dreams, your will, your motivation, your reason, your judgment, your all, are submitted and subjected to him. Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. You are jealous for God and the things of God, and you despise the things of the devil. A person that keeps the word of God will find that the love of God is perfected in them. This could mean the love that God puts into a person or that person's love for God. Either way, it's to be read. Its implication is really the same because we only love God because he first loved us. When it says perfected, it doesn't mean that the love is defective and must be repaired. It means that the love of God will accomplish its intended goal. It will work in the life of a believer until its intended end is reached, namely the obedience of the Christian. According to the book of Ephesians, we were chosen and predestinated in love so that we would be holy and blameless before him. And in Titus we read that Jesus gave himself for us to redeem us from all lawlessness and to purify for himself a people for his own possession who are zealous for good works. The love of Jesus will be perfected in those he loves. That's what happens. They will keep his word. They will keep his commandments. They know him, and they walk in the same way he walked. Much of what John is saying sounds repetitive here, and it is, but there are nuances of meaning in the phrases he chooses. It is as if he's slowly adding more weight to the scale. The basic truth he's teaching is clear, but he's adding to the gravity of the truth so that we feel the eternal importance of this doctrine. John started with knowing Jesus and then keeping his commands. Then he added more weight by speaking of God's love for us and in us, which leads to keeping his word. Now he says, if you say you abide in him, you are living in Jesus and he in you, then walk in the same way Jesus walked. This drives us back to the word of Jesus that John recorded in his gospel. John chapter 15 begins with Jesus teaching on the vine and branches. It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. Does this sound familiar? John is really just repeating what Jesus said to him. He's saying that if you live in me, we have fellowship together, love is perfected in you, and the joy is full, complete. And so John is basically repeating what Jesus said. And you go back to the vine and branches thing, it's right there. It's abide in me. If you're in me, then you're going to do what I say. If you're not in me, then you won't do what I say. And so that's one of the ways you can tell if you're in him, because you will bear fruit. And so we're to walk like Jesus walked. Jesus did not come without a purpose. His whole life was about walking to the cross. The path he took led him directly there. As he walked the road, he did what the Father told him to do. He fulfilled the law, and he said what the Father told him to say. Even some of the last words he spoke were to fulfill what was written. He lived a life of complete obedience to the Father. A.W. Pink said to walk as Christ walked is a moral obligation resting upon the Christian, for he is not his own, but bought with a price. The sacrifice of Christ demands nothing less. The honor of his name requires it. His love should constrain us thereto. A life of self-pleasing is utterly inconsistent with our union with him. The head was holy and humble. Shall his members be carnal and proud? In the routine of our daily lives, in each relation we are called to fill, social, commercial, domestic, we should make it a point of honor and esteem it a holy privilege to ask, how would Christ act in such circumstances? And seek by all that is within us to do likewise. We ought to, in order that God may find us in every hour that which is a sweet Savior of his Son. Only so shall we walk worthy of the Lord into all pleasing, Colossians 1:10. Only so shall we shine as lights in the world, Philippians 2:15. Only so shall we show forth his virtues, 1 Peter 2:9. Only so shall we be his witnesses and representatives in the scene. Only so shall we truly glorify him. End quote.